The 5-to-1 ratio is a kind of magic formula that for years has been used by couples to help them build strong, stable, and healthy relationships. Well, in the video today, I'm going to show you how to use this in a completely unique way so that you can become happier and healthy within yourself and ultimately more successful in your life. Welcome back, and if you're new to the channel, welcome for the first time. I'm Maddie Wolf. The 5-to-1 ratio was first introduced to us by the renowned relationship expert, Dr. John Gottman, and it displays a powerful, useful way, a barometer, if you like, for couples to navigate their relationship. I'm going to tell you how this works, and then we're going to jump into how you can use it to actually ultimately improve one of the most important, if not the most important relationship you will ever have in your life. So the 5-to-1 ratio works like this in a nutshell. For every one negative interaction that you have with your partner, there have to be 5 positive interactions in order to keep the balance and that healthy self-respect and respect for each other. In Dr. Gottman's studies, he found that couples who already have a strong, stable relationship do this automatically. And couples who don't, those are the ones who are likely to struggle with their relationships, and ultimately it can actually lead to divorce if they are not protecting this 5-to-1 ratio. So this can work in normal everyday interactions as well as in heated arguments. So say for an example, in an argument with your partner, you have one low blow, an insult. Maybe a couple is arguing about whose turn it is to take out the garbage, and you say to your partner, "You're so lazy." Low blow, an insult on who they are, their character. Well, if we leave it at that, that can be destructive, can eat away at the very foundation of that relationship. But if in that same argument, there are 5 other instances of positive affirmations of the relationship, showing empathy, showing understanding for why your partner is not taking the garbage out that day, or how much they've had to deal with recently, or a physical closeness, looking into your partner's eye in the midst of this argument. If we have 5 occurrences that tip the scales to that positive reinforcement, then that can override the one negative comment. But do you see how important it is to be weighing up the positive things? It's not enough to just have tit for tat, one negative for one positive. It's not just in arguments that this works. This can be in your day-to-day interactions as well. So if over the course of the week you have one negative effect to the relationship, maybe you misinterpret something that your partner has said and you are quick to jump on them. Or maybe it's a dismissal of a reaching out. You go to check your phone when actually they're trying to relay something important to you. That's a negative interaction, which can happen without us even realizing that it has an impact, but it can slowly erode the foundation of a relationship unless, of course, there are those 5 positive ones to counterbalance. In unhealthy relationships, Dr. Gottman has found that the equation, the ratio, is more like 0.8 positive to 1 negative in terms of those interactions. Now, this is an incredibly powerful formula to understand. And if you are looking to rebuild a relationship, if you find that your relationship is struggling, or if you just want to go out into the world and create that new relationship and want to make sure that you're making a solid base for it, owning this ratio, knowing that by putting 5 positive interactions into that communication with your partner, then it can take the hit of one negative one. But what we're talking about on the video today is how we can use this ratio for ultimately the most important relationship in your life, not with your husband or your wife, not with your mom or your dad, not with your brother or sister, not with your best friend, not even the relationship you have with your children. This is about how we can use the ratio to improve our relationship with ourselves. Why do we need to improve the relationship with ourselves? Well, science tells us, studies and countless research have been done to show us that when we have a strong sense of self, when we have a positive relationship with ourself in the form of self-esteem, self-efficacy, self-compassion, self-respect, we are more likely to be happy. We are more likely to be healthy and engage in positive, healthy behavior like eating well, exercising more, getting better sleep at night. That strong relationship with ourselves also manifests in better working conditions, higher paid jobs, more success in our future endeavors by having a strong foundation in our relationship with ourselves. So let's see how we can apply this incredible magic formula, this 5-to-1 ratio, as we build or maybe rebuild our relationship with the most important person in our life. In order to do this, we need to look at the various components. This ratio is a very clear indication of how many negative interactions there are with how many positive interactions there are. That's the basis of the ratio. So when we're talking about that in terms of our relationship with someone else, it's pretty easy to see where the negative ones are and where the positive ones are. When it is a relationship with ourselves that we are talking about, the lines may be a bit more blurred. Let's look at what consists of a negative interaction with oneself. So a big obvious one that often gets swept under the table is negative self-talk. In fact, people who engage with negative self-talk often have made it so automatic that they don't even realize that they're doing it. Negative self-talk is when you put yourself down, either in your head or out loud. When you tell yourself, I'm so stupid, why did I do that? That's such an idiotic thing to do. Negative self-talk is sometimes that constant voice in your head telling you that you're not good enough or that you don't deserve certain things. That, of course, every time we engage in that negative self-talk is a point against us. It's that one negative interaction that we need to counterbalance by 5 positive ones, but it's not the only one. A negative interaction can also be made up by negative behaviors that we have in our life, maybe lifestyle choices. So for example, binge eating, binge drinking, binge watching Netflix, anything in excess is often something that can lead to a negative interaction. Those negative relationships that we may have, letting other people put us down. Of course, that is their negative interaction with us, but it also represents a negative interaction we're having with ourselves if we're failing to put up appropriate boundaries. Have a little think right now. Think about the last 24 hours, last 48 hours, last week. How many times have you interacted with yourself in what constitutes a negative way based on what we've just discussed? When I'm working with people one-to-one, I often recommend this as a starting point. Make a little tally chart of how many times you notice yourself engaging negatively with yourself, whether that is through negative self-talk, whether that is negative or destructive lifestyle patterns, or whether it is about how much you are pushing yourself beyond what you can readily take on. So we see this a lot, especially in the current culture of pushing ourselves to burnout, undersleeping, over-consuming, whether it's over-consuming media or over-consuming food or over-consuming stimulation in a negative way. These are all points of negative interaction. Now, to go back to our amazing ratio, this 5-to-1, you can offset each of these interactions, but you've got to do the work. You've got to put in those 5 positive ones for every 1 negative one. Now, if we again look at how this ratio works when we're dealing with a significant other, it may be easy to see how we can start investing positively in that relationship to try and even out the equation if it's unbalanced. Perhaps we do more kind gestures for our partner. We go out of our way to make them dinner or to carve out some space and time for that person. Maybe it's as simple as holding their gaze a little bit longer, showing them that you care, showing them that you understand what they're going through. Something as simple as listening, being fully present. can count as a positive interaction and can help stabilize and solidify that relationship. Here we are talking about our 5-to-1 ratio as it applies to ourselves. Remember, we're taking this incredible tool and applying it to how we build our own sense of self in order to go out there and live our life fully. So what constitutes a positive interaction with ourself, so that we can build up those 5 for every one negative one? Positive self-talk is probably the most powerful positive that we can reach to, and one that immediately begins to tip the balance. If we're used to employing negative self-talk, then switching it around and telling ourselves the things that we have done well or the things that we are capable of, whether that's internally to ourselves or out loud to other people. And I would argue that both of those things are generally underdone, and by maximizing our positive self-talk, we can radically change our relationship with ourselves and our relationship with the people around us. Sometimes this comes in the form of affirmations. I am capable. I am strong enough. I am worthy of love. If you're interested in hearing more about how to create your own affirmations, check out this video here. It's a super straightforward way to start using this incredibly powerful strategy. Practices such as gratitude or journaling count as positive interactions with yourself. Practicing gratitude on a daily basis, writing down the 3 specific things that you feel grateful for in that day, count as a worthy process that you can go through that can allow you to feel more positive about your situation, more positive about who you are and your interactions with other people. A new tilt on gratitude practice, if you've been doing it and you feel like you want to get an extra boost, is to practice gratitude in terms of what you are grateful for about yourself. We get into the habit of practicing gratitude in terms of our external factors. We're grateful for the people in our life. We're grateful for the house we live in. We're grateful for the community we're in. We're grateful for our job. But what about the qualities that you have that you're grateful for? Maybe you're grateful for your patience, or you're grateful for your ability to understand others, or maybe you're grateful for being open enough to start implementing a ratio like the 5-to-1 ratio we're talking about here today. Being grateful and practicing gratitude on a daily basis acts as one of those positive interactions, and it's something small that you can start doing immediately. Journaling offers the same kind of reward. And we know that with both of these, with gratitude and with journaling, studies show us that people who engage in this on a daily basis are happier, healthier, and ultimately more successful. And it can take as little as 5 minutes that you dedicate to it each day. Another form of positive interaction that you can have with yourself is the kinds of choices you make about your patterns, your lifestyle behaviors. So choosing to get that extra hour of sleep by going to bed early and not scrolling through your social media. That's a positive interaction. That's something you are doing and giving to yourself that weighs in that ratio. That counts as one of those 5 points. Choosing to eat more healthily on a given day, making the choice to not indulge in that second piece of cake, whatever it is for you, making those kinds of positive choices have a direct impact on how you feel about yourself and also how you are treating yourself. Remember, when we treat ourselves with kindness, respect, with courtesy, then that's the clear message we are giving to other people, that we are worthy of that kindness, that respect, and that courtesy. And each one of those choices we make counts in this ratio. So hopefully by now you're starting to get a sense of the kind of positive interactions that you can start incorporating into your day-to-day life. Remember, 5 is not the limit. Every time you notice yourself doing one negative interaction, engaging in one negative practice that's eroding at your sense of self, you want to get right on with those 5. Figure out how many you can include in the day, but be mindful that we're probably not picking up on each negative interaction. This is one of the problems that we find ourselves themselves. And when I speak to people one-to-one, they often don't even realize how many times they are contributing to that negative effect, that negative influence that they're having on themselves. So don't limit yourself with only 5 positive interactions. Remember, this is on a day-to-day level, it might be on an hour-to-hour level, and it's definitely on a weekly, monthly, and yearly level as well. That's why this ratio is so powerful, because we can kind of keep tabs on ourselves. Here's what we know, what research tells us, is that when you have that strong, stable relationship with yourself, you can go out in the world with more confidence, more resilience, better health, better self-esteem and self-efficacy, and ultimately achieve your goals. It's a simple ratio when it comes right down to it. And it starts today by recognizing when those negative interactions are coming up and counterbalancing them with positive ones. There is literally no better way to start building the foundation of a strong relationship with yourself. And when you do that, not only will you feel happier, healthier, and ultimately more successful in life, but then you can go out and build those strong relationships with other people. And if you want to learn more about how to create positive relationships with others, check out this video here. It's only about 10 minutes long. I'll see you there.